Coach, the last time we spoke, you had ideas in mind as to who might your starters be, but you weren't ready to declare any yet. Has that thought process changed any, or is it?
No, it hasn't changed any. It's became got a little bit clearer here and there, but still hasn't changed any. And like I told my players, we're going to keep this thing open all the way up to game time. And I think that's an interesting way of doing it. It allows each player to come out every day and know that he has a chance to still compete for the starting job at every position. And I think that creates competition, which we need. So thus far, it's been working really good for us.
Is this a new tack you've taken, or have you done this in previous?
Oh, I've done this for years.
Okay.
So it's nothing new. I just think it's a way to hopefully get a winning formula going, and so it's a way to keep competition going. It's a way to keep complacency from not setting in, and thus far over the years it's worked really well for me.
At what point do you start working at game week for UTSA?
Well, we've already started working, on some things, for our opponent that we have to face in another week or so. So, it's a little early for us, but I felt like we had a lot of the detailed things down already that we needed to have in place. We had a pretty good camp. Came out of camp very healthy. So, like I told the coaching staff, hey, we have no other choice right now but to move on to the next phase, and that's preparing for UTSA. So we're doing some things, working on them a little bit now, as well as continuing to work on some fundamental things to improve our football team.
Are they more of an unknown quantity now that the founder or the guy that started the program, Larry Coker, has now gone and you have a new head coach there, a new regime?
Somewhat, definitely. But I've been knowing Frank for years. So Frank is a very good coach, and I tell you, first class coach. And UTSA did a good job at selecting Frank as their new head coach. Excuse me. He has some guys on the staff that I'm familiar with. Self, offensive coordinator, who I spent time with, and so I got some ideas. I got a thought process of some of the things that we may face, but it is kind of unknown. To see what type of football team they're going to be in, what type of scheme they're going to run offensively and defensively.
To where we are at this point, leading up to the season, next week, do you like where your team is at, or do you have plenty of things you still want to see out of them before next Saturday?
Well, it's a little bit of both. I like where we're at right now. I really do. I think this team came in focused and had a very successful camp, and my hat goes off to my coaches. I think my coaching staff did a phenomenal job getting this team through camp healthy, but as well as preparing this team to get ready for the season opener. So that's a good thing. But we still have a lot of things to work on, and we're continuing to be a work in progress, and that's just the way it is. So we're just at that point where we feel good, but we're not good enough. And we see some things that we have to do better. And when we realize that as a coaching staff, and we're going to continue to just work our guys so we can hopefully be the best football team we can be.
With a lot of things you talked to us over the summer and even into the SWAC media day and the early part of practice schedule, you talked about how much the team grew basically from an academic standpoint, what they were able to do off the field. What from that can translate onto the field, if anything, but what do you try to take from what they're doing off the field in the classroom and maybe use it to an advantage on the field?
Well, the number one thing I tell my guys from the first day of my arrival is if you do it right and make it all line up, you'll get the results that you want. And I tell you what, our guys took that philosophy and ran with it, and they did the necessary things that was asked of them off the field, And I tell you what, the end result is, we got close to 30 guys with over 3.0 and team GPA of 2.8, or higher. And right now we've been able to eliminate a lot of the past inherited academic woes. So if you can take that work ethic and that focus and that detail off the field and put it on the field, then you got a football team that knows how to learn the scheme. You got a football team that learns how to operate the scheme, along with being able to operate while doing the fundamentals at an all-time high. So that's the thing that we can take from out of the classroom and doing things right off the field and bring them to the field. And if you can keep those things, intact, you have a chance of being a championship football team. And I think our guys are starting to realize a little bit of what's needed to even say that you want to be a champion.
We obviously talk to you about Corey Berry a good bit every time we see you. Do you see other guys stepping up to try to be at his level on that defensive side of the ball?
Definitely. I think Courtney has set an expectation amongst all of our guys on our entire football team, and especially on the defensive side of the ball. And I think guys are trying to reach that expectation and maintain and keep that expectation, you know. And Corey does it, Courtney does it by example. And that's a good thing when you got a young man that does his leadership by example and not verbally all the time. So absolutely, I think he's elevated our team in many different ways.
Coach, I guess the last question I have for you is, we'll meet again a week from today for the next press conference. What do you want to see different from your team by next Wednesday? What do you want to be talking about next Wednesday?
Well, the main thing I want to talk about next Wednesday is completing the preparation process. That's so important, and that's what we've been talking to our guys about, preparation, how important the preparation process is. And next week, you know, as we get to the latter part of the week, I want to be able to talk to them about completing the preparation process and moving to the next phase of competition. And I tell you what, I think our guys are aware of what they need to do, you know, and they have taken the approach of, you know, whatever needs to be done, we're going to do it, and we're going to do it right. And thus far, you know, like I said, I'm very pleased. As people can see, I'm in a good mood about this football team. And I'm just impressed with these guys that they've taken on the difficulty of the things off the field. Didn't make excuses, but buckled down and did what they had to do to prove that they are a first-class group of young men. They haven't been in trouble, you know, legal trouble at all. We're doing what we're supposed to do in the classroom. So they're building a first-class program, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud of my coaches and the things that they put into our program to get us to the point that we're at. So right now, I think it's an exciting time for our program, because the next step is just to go out and do it and win ball games and hopefully put ourselves in a position to win a championship.
Talk about with 9 days out, Coach. You're happy, you've had a great camp. Detail stuff. You want to work with these last time.
Absolutely. Detail is the key to everything and anything, and that's not only in football, but that's in life. So we definitely want to make sure that we're detailed in our effort, and detailed in our execution, detailed in our follow-through, and detailed in our finish. And those are some of the things that we're trying to improve on that we have not mastered yet. So definitely, you know, we're not complacent, and I don't feel good enough to the point where I can say, hey, we've arrived. I feel good about this football team and the things that they've showed us thus far. But we're still our work in progress, and we still have to really define and sharpen up on those detailed things that's needed to win.